One of these wines here got the perfect score, 100 points, 100 out of 100. The other one's from the same variety of comparable price points because I wanted a little bit of comparison. But is a wine that receives 100 points, is that really the perfect wine? I know when I was just getting into wine, I started to be able to afford better wines. My friend and I said, one day we're going to buy a 100-point wine and sit there and enjoy it. 100-point wines, they're funny things. You have to remember they're just somebody's opinion. The wine that got the perfect score here was from JebDunnuck.com. Jeb Dunnuck was the leading wine critic for The Wine Advocate. Robert Parker handpicked him himself from 2013 to 2017. Robert Parker himself even said that Jeb reminded him of a younger version of himself. Jeb left The Wine Advocate in 2017, started his own publication. He started focusing on the wines from California, Washington, and the Rhone, wines that he loved. And he's been bringing on new critics. Actually, the one that gave this perfect score was Virginie Boone. I last knew her as the reviewer at The Wine Enthusiast. I haven't met her personally, but I know she started her career at Lonely Planet, a job that 10, 15 years ago I wish I would have had. You have to remember, though, that critics are looking for different things in wine versus casual wine drinkers. I remember when I was just getting into wine and I was looking for all these icons, wanting to taste these. And fortunately, since I am in the business, I have had the opportunity to taste a lot of wines that got so-called perfect scores. And I have to tell you, none of those that I tasted were actually the most memorable wines that I've ever had. In fact, one of the most memorable wines I've ever had in my life was a liter of just house wine from Lucca in Tuscany. That's when I was backpacking through Europe, and that wine was probably €5 a liter. To score a wine super high, critics usually look for ageability, which also means that wines are not going to be as enjoyable young as they will be with time in the bottle. Whereas most casual wine drinkers just want something in the glass that's delicious to enjoy, to drink right now. It's kind of like films. Two of my favorite contemporary films are Hoop Dreams and The Wedding Singer. Hoop Dreams has a 98% score on Rotten Tomatoes. One of my favorite film critics, Roger Ebert, even said that it's the best film about American life that he's ever seen. However, that's not drawing the type of box office numbers that Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible movies are. I mean, how many of you have actually seen Hoop Dreams? On the flip side, you have The Wedding Singer, which is just pure fun. It got a 72% score on Rotten Tomatoes. If a wine got 72 points, it would just be terrible. Nobody would even buy it or even try to taste it. Is it the greatest film in the world? No, it's not, but it's one of my personal favorites, and I always derive pleasure when I watch it. Wine's the same way. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I know a lot of people that are perfectly happy drinking Moscato, and all props to them. I do know as you get more experience in wine, you start looking for different things. You start looking for more nuance. Usually your palate tends to skew towards European wines because you want more mineral, more earthy type flavors. My palate actually started with those type of wines, and I've never went over into the fully fruity wines. But again, everybody's palate is a little bit different. These are wines that are outside the USA. I visited this country earlier this year. I tasted this wine with the winemaker along with several other wines, and I was impressed with it back then. I don't know if I'd give it 100 points. I know that before I was doing YouTube full time, I was also writing. In my writing career, I've never given a wine a perfect score. 99 points was the highest I've given. I gave a Tokai recently 99 points on this channel. That was the highest scored wine on this channel. I might start my writing career back up again. I'll keep you guys posted on that. When I tasted this wine, though, several months ago, I thought it was really good. I don't know if I would give it 100 points, although I wasn't scoring critically. I was sitting there tasting with the winemaker, listening to him. But luckily, I have a wine from the same grape variety at almost the same price point that's also highly scored. So let's compare and contrast. Maybe I'll like the lesser scored wine. We'll see here. Happens a lot of times in blind tastings. Let's get ready to go. I have my Spiegelau Definition Bordeaux glasses. I love these glasses. They're thin. They're super affordable. They're like $35 a stem. And these are big wines. So let's give it a go. Let's start out with wine number 1 here. As always, I Coravin these and then had somebody mix them up for me. The wine that got 100 points, ironically, producer sent me some samples, some of the wines that I liked. And I did like this wine. They even sent me 2 bottles, and just a couple weeks ago, from the time I'm shooting this, it got up the 100-point score, so I doubt if I would have asked after the 100-point score, I would have gotten samples of those wines. I do have clout in the wine industry, but not that much clout yet. Okay, wine one. Definitely have like this blueberry, mulberry, blackberry flavor going on. Just a little bit of smoke, a little bit of white pepper. Like, I'm surprised. It's got like this Cool Whip flavor that I get out of some of the Pinot Noirs out of Santa Barbara County. If those of you don't know, Cool Whip is like this American brand of whipped cream. Not vanilla, just it's got that Cool Whip type flavor. This is big fruit. It doesn't, to me, have the nuances that I would associate with a wine that got 100 points, but it does smell good. It does smell like a wine that a lot of people would enjoy right out of the gate. I do know the variety since I do know what these wines were beforehand, and this is true to the variety, especially this new style of this variety. Let's give this a taste. This is a wine that's full of flavor, but it's not full body. It's concentrated, more medium body. The nose is just kind of okay. But on the palate, you have all those flavors plus some leathery notes come out. The tannins are silky smooth. It's extremely long. This is a very polished wine. This has almost got Côte de Nuit type quality. And it's not Pinot Noir. But that's pretty good. Let's move on to number two. Okay, number two smells a little bit oakier. I get some blackberry type flavor. It smells more concentrated than this wine, more riper, more blackberry, where this had more blueberry type notes. I definitely get the oak and the tobacco, a little bit of pepper. I get the wood here, but it's expensive wood. And that just comes with tasting a lot of wines, tasting barrel samples. You start to taste wines that are made out of high quality, expensive wood. And sometimes you smell it, you're like, whoa, that smells expensive. It's almost like a new car smell versus a car that's got a new car air refreshener that's trying to imitate that. That's the difference between expensive oak and new oak. Wow, I just came up with that on the fly. I gotta give myself props for that. Super good wine. A lot of fruit, a little bit more power on the back end. The one thing different this wine versus this wine, I have a little bit more of the wood tannin, which bothers me. Let's see. Let's go back and forth. This wine on my left, wine, you're right, wine number two. This is the type of wine, because it's a little more fruity and more powerful, that I think everybody's going to think it's one of the best wines in the world. It's got the fruit, got the hint of oak. I like this style on the right a little bit more. To me, it's kind of more burgundy style, more medium bodied. I still get the characteristics of the grape, although I knew that the grape is beforehand. But these are definitely more modern, less jammy styles of this variety. Just give me one sec here. This is hard. While this wine is big, it's not a jam monster. It's just bigger compared to this one. Let's go to the reveal, shall we? For me, for my palate personally, again, it's one man's opinion here. I am not 100 points on either one of these wines. I do, however, think they are very, 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 very good wines. I mean, this one on the right's hit my palate perfectly. I'm going for wine number two. 94 points. And wine number one, 96 plus. I'm going to give that just a little, I can't go a little bit more, but it definitely has got the gumption to age. So let's see. You ready for the reveal? I'm going to tell you right now, before I open these wines, the variety is Malbec from Argentina. And these are high elevation vineyards. For those who don't know, Malbec is the leading red grape planted in Argentina. Argentina, with about 225,000 hectares of vineyards, is one of the top 6 wine producing countries in the world. And I'm really, really impressed with what they're doing with Malbec on my recent trip there, just trying to make the best wines possible. Reminds me of the ambitious producers in Napa. 94 points right here. I think this is good. 100 points it is not. This is the Bodega Colome Altura Maximo Malbec 2019 from Salta, north of Argentina, also the highest region in Argentina, some of the highest vineyards in the world. This comes from vineyards that are over 3,000 meters in elevation. That's over 10,000 feet. Pretty crazy. I haven't been to Salta yet. I have to get there. I know that the Hess family bought Colome. They still make fantastic wines. This is the top wine, 100% Malbec. Yeah, 10,200 feet above sea level, comes in about $180. I just gave it 94 points. I do think a lot more people are going to like this style of wine because it's bigger. They're going to love it. It's super good wine. Is it worth $180? That's up for you to decide. It is super good. That this got, 93 points James Suckling, 92 points Wine Spectator. Let's go with James Suckling's. Lots of depth here. I agree with blackberries. That's what I said. Asphalt, whetstone minerality, and a savory roasted spice. I got that with the wood. Concentrated, yes. Brooding red with lots of ripeness, but still juicy. Wrapped by powdery and dusty tannins. If it weren't for the hint of the warmth at the end, this would have gotten higher. Has potential, though, better after 2024. I didn't feel the heat, the alcohol he was talking about, but the tannins were a little bit hot because the wood tannins were there. But still, 94 points. That's no joke. And the 100-point wine, I gave 96 plus. The first time I tasted it, I didn't score it. I was just tasting with the winemaker. Him and I both agreed it was impressive. This actually changed my mind a lot about Malbec in Argentina when I tasted this. I know that this is grown at 1,500 meters, I think. So we're talking well over 5,000 feet. Cool thing about this wine, I did taste the grapes from this vineyard, from the harvest, as they were coming into the winery. And I was so shocked because the grapes had acidity. I thought that you had to acidify a lot of these Malbecs because of the high desert conditions. But when you have high elevation and the Valle de Uco, that's what you get. 96 plus points for me. This is the Terrazas de los Andes Extremo Malbec. Oh, from 1,650 meters. So that's pretty high. 13% alcohol, which is low for Malbec. This comes in at $200. Virginie says in her review, a delicate framework of gorgeous passion fruit, Lebanon verbena, forest floor, supple in texture. Again, I don't know if I agree with those flavors, but again, everybody's palate's different. Don't be afraid to pick up what you pick up. She says Pinot-esque in its ethereal embrace of understated elegance, which I completely agree with. Native thyme tangles with tobacco leaf, remaining herbal and earthy, and finishing with a twist of cinnamon. I do agree with that because I get that earthy notes of subtlety. And she says the wine has extraordinary longevity with an aging potential over 20 years. We'll see. It does taste really good, though. It's expensive, but if you're a point chaser for a 100-point wine, red wine, it's actually kind of a bargain. I thought it was outstanding. Again, not for the big and bold. This is for those of you that like Burgundy. I actually got on the winemaker and said, hey, maybe you should put this in a Burgundy bottle because that's the style of wine it is. So tell me, what do you think about critic scores? Have you tasted a 100-point red wine before? Was it even memorable to you? What wine was it? I'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments below.